Hey guys, it's cobradvs for episode 3 of RattleCast, and joining me this week, of course, is...
Neo Flynn once again.
Nothing's changed. Alright, I guess we can go ahead and read the comments from the last video, which was slightly less popular than the video before it, but we were just talking about it, and we think we might know the reason. With the whole YouTube hiatus deal.
The giant YouTube screw up.
Yeah, I mean, my subscription box looks so shitty for like 2 days.
Yeah, like the same video on the top for like 2 days.
It sucked. It was some Call of Duty video from X-Play. Just staring at it for 2 days.
Like, what is going on?
Ah, man. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Intellivision dude, he says Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Because we were talking about the Super Nintendo and how it's sort of superior in my eyes to the Super NES or to the Genesis.
To the Genesis.
He's a Genesis fan, and I think all of us are. I don't dislike the Genesis at all, but he was telling me on Facebook chat like the shooters that the Genesis has, like Thunder Force and stuff.
Yeah, it is definitely shmup heavy. So
it is, yeah. They're two similar consoles, but they definitely excel, I think, in different areas.
Different, yeah.
CZS716 said, loving the podcast. I think you should do a Deals of the Week segment. You could find some good sales from websites or stores that you found. We could, but then if we go ahead and say all the good deals that are on the internet on the show, then how the hell will we get them?
Right.
We could do that, I guess, if there's a... Or maybe after I've already bought in the really good deal. Maybe
right.
Then I'll say it.
But, I mean, if something really spectacular pops up, we can...
Yeah, like stadium events for $10 or something. All right. Ivy Pepe 38 says, another great one, guys. All right, cool. Ball and Nick said, another great podcast, guys. Those eBay auctions were outrageous, LOL. Thanks for the mention, too. Much appreciated. Well, not a problem. Thanks for watching, definitely. Mike Gardner said, dudes, you're way off base with the Jenny and Super NES. RPGs mean nothing if you don't like that genre. The Genesis will forever be better in the shmups and could be argued platformer areas. Besides, it has the greatest sports game ever, NHL 94. Great podcast, man. You brought out the Jenny fanboy that was dormant since 1994. It's not that I don't like RPGs. It's just I never got into them. And, when an RPG takes 20 hours to beat and I have 50 of them, it's kind of hard to start.
Right. I mean, it's one of those debates that will rage on for all eternity. I mean, they're both awesome systems. We're not saying, don't play Genesis, but...
Oh, definitely not.
They both are awesome in their own right. So.
Right. One thing he said about maybe better in the platforming areas, I have to disagree. I can't.
Yeah, I would give that nod to SNES.
Obviously, Sonic 1, 2, I don't care for 3 very much, but obviously it's a good game. And then Sonic and Knuckles, they're all fantastic. And even some of the hidden gems in the Genesis, like Rystar and games like that, they're good, but Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2, which is, in my opinion, better than the first.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of other platformers. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe there's not too many of them.
Yeah, but
you've
got the Mario games, which is,
Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a nail in the coffin. Those are great series. I guess would the Star Wars games be platformers?
Yeah. You can consider them that. There's definitely a
platforming
element to them, yeah.
Definitely. Okay, and NHL 94, he's a big fan of that. I guess I've never played that. Actually, I have it, but...
Available on the SNES, too, though, because it's an EA.
That's true, yep. Rob, who is, said, well, if you have a spare $900,000, which I do not at the current time, I would pick up Better Living Through Killing Zombies DVD on eBay. I didn't check that out, but that sounds bizarre. Plus, if you win the auction, the cast members will come over for a pizza party, and who doesn't love pizza? I'd also look at NCAA Football 2005 for Xbox. It's only a cool $500,000 on eBay. My question. Oh, we got a question. That's another thing. Ask questions. Makes it a little more fun in the questions and comments section. He says, my question is, with all the big games coming out in the next few months, Arkham City, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3, Skyrim, etc., which game do you think is going to be the biggest hit this holiday season? I find it funny that he didn't mention Halo, of course, but a game that's going to be released in, as I look at the clock right now, 14 minutes, Gears of War 3.
Yeah.
People are excited for Gears of War 3 right now, and it's probably because the game is coming out right now, but
Right.
a couple of pre-release reviews are praising it, basically. I mean, Game Informer gave it a 9 out of 5, or a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, on Metacritic right now, it's at a 91 average, so that tells you right there.
Yeah. I mean, the first two I loved. I loved the second one more than the first, but they were both great to me.
Yeah, it's an awesome series, and I'm not going to pick it up right away, but I will get it eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
And, yeah, I don't think I mean, the first two were spectacular, so it's easily going to be fantastic.
I think the thing with Gears of War 3, it's a series done right. It's one that's stuck to what it's good at, but improved on things. And I don't know when the first Gears of War 3 or Gears of War came out, what year. The second one was probably 2009.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe even 8. But I mean, look at the years between the sequels. That's how you do it. That's how you hype. You know what I mean? We'll get into this later maybe, but with the Call of Duty series, every year, it's sort of like, you know what, we've done this too many times. It's just that's not how you do it.
Yeah, it gets kind of overloaded if you pump them out too fast. I mean, Halo's been kind of that same way too, where they'll put a couple years in between each one, so.
That's true, and even with the Halo, when you go like Halo 3, and then I think 2 years later, is that when ODST came out?
It sounds about right. I mean, I don't have the dates in front of me, but
I think it was 2 years. But then in that year between those two, there was Halo Wars.
Yeah.
And then after ODST was Reach. But even if there's like a 1 or 2 year difference between those sequels, each one of the games I just listed is almost completely different from the one before it. Aside from Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah.
I mean, Halo Wars and Halo Reach are completely different from Halo 3.
Yeah,
I think.
Definitely.
I was actually playing Halo 3 today online, and as much as I hate to say it, that game, it doesn't play as well as I thought it would.
I think if you've been playing like the Reach multiplayer and then to go back to 3, I think that's, it's tough to do that because they play so different. But
yeah, it's not very easy. Well, we never really answered this question. Which game do you think is going to be the biggest hit?
It's so tough to say.
It is. I mean,
they're all good, and they're all going to sell well. So
Skyrim, people are pretty excited about Skyrim. I've never played any of those games, but
yeah, I mean it's a huge series. I mean that's number 6, I think, in the series. So there's a pretty big following. I would probably say like Modern Warfare 3 just because there's such a huge fan base for it. But
it'll probably sell the best. I as far as I think, maybe which one will be more like critically acclaimed or most praised. It'll probably be either Arkham City or maybe Skyrim.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else he didn't mention is Skyward Sword: The Legend of Zelda.
The Zelda, yeah.
Yeah. Which is a shame that game doesn't get as much attention as it probably will deserve. That's one I wanted to pick up when it came out. Tweer Up says, another great podcast. I don't have any questions, but maybe next time, or maybe next episode I will. Well, hopefully.
We like questions.
Yeah, questions are good. All right, so we can go ahead and start the news. Nick, if you want to go ahead and pitch out a news story, go ahead.
Yeah, the first one it was middle of the week last week when they announced this. I think it happened during the Tokyo Game Show, but it was PlayStation releasing the specs of the Vita, which is their new portable. And yeah, a lot of people up in arms about the atrocious battery life, which is, let me read this exactly for you. Approximately 3 to 5 hours for games, approximately 5 hours for video, and 9 hours for music. in standby mode, and that's with Bluetooth turned off, headphones used instead of speakers, and the default setting on screen brightness, which I'm sure is dark as heck.
Yeah.
And no 3G or Wi-Fi turned on. So basically, yeah, 3 to 5 hours trying to play a game. It's decent. I think the 3DS is somewhere similar to that. But
Yeah, I think it's somewhere close. Might be a little higher.
yeah, but basically, if you turn anything on, turn your screen brighter than default, brightness, it's gonna cut it down to probably 2.5 to 3 hours if you're lucky, which is pretty paltry.
That's kind of like going backwards. That's like a Game Gear.
Yeah, I mean, I know like the DS gets insane battery life. Like I hardly ever have to charge that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of mind-boggling, but the bigger technologies in them is obviously going to suck up battery life more. But you would think they would come up with some workaround for it. But
Yeah. Well, what is it? I wonder why. Why would the battery life be so bad on it? You think it's
I'm
the
sure
type of
just
battery
the
they're using?
power of everything that's going on in there, and you've got that touch panel or whatever that's going on the back, and it's touchscreen on the front. So I think those take a lot of battery life to run. So.
And it says here you have to have mandatory memory cards. What's that about?
Yeah, there's no internal memory, so you've got to buy Sony's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you've got to buy Sony's memory cards, which is what they've done before, with the PSP and stuff. So it's nothing new for them, but.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm not a business aficionado, but I gotta be honest. I think they go about things way wrong.
And yeah, it's kind of like what Nintendo did in the old days, where you had to buy the cartridges from them, which is why you got the the now famous Tengen cartridges, because they were unlicensed games and things like that. But they just they want money in their pocket, so they're gonna make you buy more things too.
Right, but it seems like a company like Sony, who, correct me if I'm wrong, is in last place right now in the video game market.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they would be doing things, to entice me to buy that, because right now, I'll be honest, right now I have absolutely zero interest in getting a Vita over a 3DS.
Yeah, I'm not a huge portable guy anyway.
Yeah, same here.
I never got a PSP.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon for the Vita right away.
If something like, I don't really know what would suck me in, but have had like incredible graphics or something like that. But obviously a 3-hour battery life's not going to draw me in.
Yeah, if you're taking a 6-hour plane ride, it's not going to do you much good.
Yeah, no kidding. That sort of baffles me a little bit. All right, well, I guess I'll go ahead and pitch a news article here. So sticking with the portable, realm, Mario Kart 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 have release dates now. And I'm going to have to open the link because I happen to have forgotten what they are. It's going to be Super Mario Land 3D goes November 3rd in Japan, and the United States it'll be November 13th, which, November 13th, does anybody know what that day is?
The day after November 12th?
That it is correct. But it's also my birthday.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah, so the stars are aligned. And then Mario Kart 7 will come out December 7th in Japan, and then it says December 4th in the United States, which is weird that it comes out in the United States before Japan. That's odd. One thing I wanted to touch on is the names of these two games, I gotta say, I don't really approve of. Mario 3D Land, why not Mario Land 3D?
3D,
3D
yeah.
seems out of place. And then Mario Kart 7 just sounds silly because they've never numbered the game before.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's always been like a subtitle or something.
Aside from Mario 64, I think it's the only one that even has numbers in it.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I think they would just call it Mario Kart 3D or something. But
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't put it past them if they changed it. Or they could come up with, something original.
Nah.
God forbid that happens.
Not Nintendo's playbook.
Yeah, no. All right, what do you got, Nick?
What is the next one I have? DC Universe, which we kind of touched on last time, that the, PlayStation Network outage kind of killed that game, and so now in trying to revive it, they have decided to go to the now classic free-to-play model that a lot of online or MMOs use now, which is basically you can get, kind of a basic membership and you don't have to pay anything. And then there's upgrades and things that you can pay for, which is kind of interesting. I may check the game out if it's free.
Are the servers still up?
Yeah. The game is still up, and that's why I think they're trying to get people to come back to it. And so they're offering it for free. Basically, you get 2 character slots, and with the free version, and then you can pay for additional character slots or any kind of updates, patches, and not patches, but expansion packs. That's what I'm looking for. And upgrading your character and things like that, you would pay for.
Oh, okay.
And then premium players, which is players that have spent at least $5 in the game, including former subscribers and in-game item purchasers, they'll get additional character slots and bigger inventory slots. And then there's like legendary players, which are the ones that have been paying the monthly fee forever and ever and ever. And they get, basically everything. So it's kind of interesting. We'll see if it actually does anything for the game itself. But
it's kind of a shame that a game that has such a cool premise as that kind of got shoved to the side because of, the PlayStation.
Yeah, it really did it. It was available on PC too, but not nearly as much, of an install base as the PS3 version had. So we'll see if it saves it or not, but it'll be interesting to follow because it is a great concept for a game, and like I said, I'd be willing to check it out if I don't have to pay for it. So.
Yeah. All right, well, we already touched on this a little bit, but Gears of War 3 does come out in T-minus 3 minutes, which is weird to say, by the way, that it comes out in a few minutes. But it does. I have a few buddies that are at the midnight release now, but there are already reviews that are spread out online, and I've not heard a single bad thing about it.
No. Yeah, it's, like I said, Metacritic average is a 91, which I think is the highest I've seen on 360. So
wow,
I mean that tells you something right there.
Metacritic is kind of like a culmination or an average.
Yeah, it basically takes all the published reviews and averages them, so it gives you a good base of what the game is actually being reviewed as. So it's usually pretty on par with because with every game you're going to get those reviews that I love it even though it sucks. Mm-hmm. And, you'll get those ones that hate on a game just because that particular person doesn't like it. But so Metacritic is a good base because it, it takes those and just averages them. So
I think this is interesting. On the I'm on GameInformer.com, and they have the review, but then they have the score on the side, and then little notes about it. And under the entertainment section, it says, if you like shooters, this is every bit as good as a choice as Call of Duty, Battlefield, or even Halo. Which, that's pretty ballsy. That's a pretty ballsy statement. I mean, those are some heavy hitters. But I gotta say, Gears of War has never been a series that, I've never, there's not a bad thing I could say about it. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised with that.
Yeah, it's a spectacular series. I've played through both 1 and 2. And actually played through them both co-op with my buddy that I game with all the time. So.
Oh, Mr. Borderlands?
Mr. Borderlands, yeah. Otherwise known as James. So yeah, we actually get together probably at least about once a week on average. And we played through both of them co-op, and they're just a blast to play.
They are fun.
I can't imagine that 3 will be any different. So and it'll be cool to see the conclusion of the story that we've been playing through. So.
Yeah, it will be. One thing about the series that I like is that it doesn't have like a ton of haters because it's so popular. Like, obviously there's the Call of Duty haters and the Halo, and I'm sure Battlefield will have its fair share. But Gears of War, it never seems like people are just like automatically against.
It doesn't have the huge like hater base that some of the other popular games do for whatever reason. So.
Okay, so what do you have next?
What do I have next? Netflix, the big to-do that they've been going through. A few months ago, they announced that they were going to upgrade not upgrade, but change their price structure. And basically, they took away the plan that most people were on, which was unlimited streaming, unlimited movies. And they basically made you separate them into 2 different ones, and you had to pay separately for each one. And then they come out today and announced that they're actually completely separating the 2 services, going so far as to change the name of the mail DVDs by mail service to Quickster, and completely separating the two entities. So now if you have both plans, which I'm somebody that does have both plans, although that may change now, um, you'll actually get two separate bills, and you'll have two separate websites to control your queue and things. And but one thing that they are doing is adding games to it, which will be interesting. I haven't looked into the prices of what it's going to cost to do the games. But I know, like, to do Blu-ray, if you wanted to do those, it was like $3 or $4 a month extra just to get Blu-rays. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to the point where they're going to just completely phase out the mail division, and it'll be strictly streaming.
This seems like a better idea.
Yeah, because it's easier for them to control that. Like, then there's so much upkeep on the DVD by mail service that they have to do that. Just having streaming would be much easier for them. So.
How much is Netflix now?
It is. I'd have to bust out my website to tell you exactly, but it's like, I think the unlimited streaming is $12.99, I think, and the 2 movies out at a time is $15.99. I actually switched to the 1 movie out at a time, which I think is $9.99. So we were paying like $8. Yeah, we were paying like $18 before for 2 movies out at a time and unlimited streaming. So it's gone up like $5 probably, but which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you start adding it up every month.
Oh yeah.
So, and they hadn't raised their prices at all since the service began, which is why people kind of threw their hands up in the air, like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Because all of a sudden they decided to raise their prices. But a lot of people are thinking, a bunch of people just altogether canceled their subscriptions when they first announced the change in price, and then now a bunch more people are dropping it because this whole separation thing. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But
yeah. All right. One more for me. I have one more, and I didn't even write it down. It's just a news article I read in Game Informer magazine, the physical magazine, not online. It was about one of the employees from Game Informer got a hands-on preview of the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. And the article intrigued me because I was curious about what he was going to say about it. And what he said really didn't surprise me at all. What he said was that this Call of Duty really doesn't do anything to separate itself from the previous, I guess going back to all the way to Call of Duty 4, which everybody seems to enjoy that game.
Yeah.
But since then, and not so much with 5, but definitely Modern Warfare 2 and then Black Ops, it's just been basically the same shit. And he said, this one's basically no different. He sort of questioned how much further can they go with the same formula before people just say, you know what, we're tired of this shit. And I jumped on that bandwagon 2 games ago.
Yeah. I mean, I played Black Ops multiplayer a little bit, but I didn't get heavy into it. There are some people that swear by it, but I think it's one of those that gets so competitive and you have so many people cheating and things like that it just kind of ruins the experience for those of us that just want to have some casual games and hop on there and play. Mm-hmm. I think people take it a little too seriously, in my opinion, but that goes with a lot of games. I think Reach has kind of reached that point too, where unless you get together with friends and just set up custom games, it kind of takes the fun out of it because people take it so damn seriously.
Yeah. I know I definitely, when I play online, I take it serious because I like to do good. But, I think more so with, and I know I always compare the two, but more so Halo with Call of Duty. When I play Halo, I just downright have fun. But with Call of Duty, it's really hard to have fun.
Yeah, because...
I mean, if I'm walking, and I'm about to get this guy, and all of a sudden a grenade indicator lands on my screen and I die, and then I look at the kill cam and find out some guy 150 yards away from me has this grenade. Yeah, has this grenade sitting in his hand for like 30 seconds and then throws it. And it's just randomly over some building. And then, bam, lands at my feet and I get killed. That's when I just, I can't do this.
Yeah, but I guess, it doesn't surprise me that they're not changing the multiplayer. But when you have something as successful as they have been in the past, why fix what's not broken? So
that's true.
It's working for them. And until something changes, I don't think they'll make any huge changes to it. So
Right. Well, look at what it's Activision, I think, that's mainly their fault here. But I mean, look what Activision did to Guitar Hero
yeah, this is true.
and Tony Hawk. I mean, those guys, is Tony Hawk done?
For the most part, yeah, they put out that stupid ride thing that flopped
Jesus
miserably.
Christ.
And we haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, that'll probably be like a collector's item because nobody bought the thing.
Right.
It's gonna be like super rare in 20 years. So go out to your local Big Lots and buy it for $8.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's all my news stories. You had one more though, right?
Yes, I did have one more, and that is the Mortal Kombat 9 has officially reached the 3 million units worldwide sold, which is pretty damn impressive, but not altogether surprising because the game is spectacular. I don't know if you've played it at all.
I wish I had the pleasure. I wanted to get it, but the thing is, buying a used copy is obviously financially the better move, but then I have to buy some stupid online code.
Online pass. Yeah.
So it's like, just piss on it. I'll wait for the game to come down in price and buy it new.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job with DLC. They put out, since the game's been released, they've put out 4 characters, and they've patched the game a few times. So they're supporting it, and it's easily one of the best games I've played, especially fighting games this year. And that sales mark actually makes it the most successful fighting game this year. So beating out Super Street Fighter 4, and it's pretty impressive. And Warner Brothers has really taken charge of that franchise and really turned it around. So it's impressive to see what they're doing, and hopefully they keep it going and put out a new one. And that leads us into Retro Corner, I believe.
Does it? Is it Retro Corner? Yes, I think it is. Yeah, well, Nick came up with the idea of sort of blending Retro Corner and then that news story and just talk about our histories with the Mortal Kombat series. Now, Nick, you were born, obviously you're a little older than me,
yeah.
And when you were, I'm sure, a teenager, that's when about Mortal Kombat was coming out?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you told the story about getting denied for it, right?
Yeah. Well, that was Mortal Kombat 2 when
Okay.
it came out on the Super Nintendo. So
All right.
and that's when I got stone cold denied trying to
So the first one came out, and let me test my history here. I want to say 91, but I think that might be a little early.
Let me Google it and find out, because I don't have this ready, which I probably should have.
I'm wanting to say 91, but I think it's probably later than that because they used like the pre-rendered stuff. It's probably 93.
It's got to be 90s sometime. Let's see. Of course, it's not going to give me the date.
Actually, I think if you go on, well, never mind. I was going to say, if you go on eBay, the new way they do it, it'll tell you the year on it. So the NES one came out in 1993.
Yeah, it started development in 91. It doesn't say when the arcade version came out. But I would say 92 or 93.
Yeah, probably 92, probably. Yeah, somewhere around there. But anyway, I was born in 92.
Oh, there we go. October 92.
All right, there we go. Mystery solved. So I wasn't able to actually play it in the arcades or anything like that. And I don't really think when I was a kid we had Mortal Kombat. We had a Super NES and a Genesis, but for me it was more. We had a Street Fighter 2 for the Genesis, and I used to play Street Fighter as Blanca because he's my favorite character. I don't know why. I just like I don't know. And then I would set it up in 2-player mode and not have a second player, so I just beat the living shit out of the...
Be mindless.
Yep. And when you're 4 years old, that's entertaining.
Right.
Unfortunately, when you're 18, it sort of loses its spark a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And then from there, we had Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super NES later. Mortal Kombat was always really, really hard, especially for me because I'm not very good at fighting games. So I never got into it. And I'm still really not big into it. It's just the new one really caught my eye.
Yeah, and the new one kind of goes back and retells the entire story of the franchise. So that it's definitely worth. It has an amazing story mode in the new one, but it's one of those series that it's kind of, I wouldn't say niche, but it had that hardcore base of people that played it. So if you went to an arcade and tried to play it and didn't know what you were doing, you would get smoked. And they really improved it from what one was to two, and then from two to three, and then after that it kind of fell off the map. And they took four and tried to make it 3D, and
Yeah, once I saw the 3D, like number 4 especially, that really turned me off because the graphics just didn't. I thought that the 3, to be honest, I thought 1, 2, and 3 looked better, even though because they were the pre-rendered, everything like that.
yeah.
And then
I mean,
the
the
3D
series
just
was
looked
made
kind
for
of
2D.
polygonal and shit.
Yeah. The series was made for 2D, and
Mhm.
so when they took it to 3D, it just kind of ruined it. And then, of course, you had, like, Deadly Alliance and
Yeah,
things
those
like
are
that.
those are 3D too, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're
Deadly
kind of like 3D on or like 2D on a 3D plane, if you know what I
Alliance.
mean.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
And,
that's kind of how they say it. I'm not really
yeah.
sure.
And then they did stupid things like the Mortal Kombat Mythologies, where you played a platform action game with Sub-Zero,
I
and
heard those were terrible.
that one, there was one called Shaolin Monks that was Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and that one wasn't as bad, but it wasn't spectacular. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 kind of, and then you had the Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which kind of tanked. Which it wasn't a terrible game, but they took things, they added things that they shouldn't have, and they tried to make it too clean because you had the DC characters in there, and they
Right.
didn't want to perform fatalities, so.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, so it kind of was like, when you play it. But yeah, 9 brings it back to the forefront, and it's an absolutely amazing game. So
That's
you're
cool.
missing out if you haven't played it.
Yeah, I guess I am. I do need to play it.
But yeah, I think it's one of those series that will always, get people talking because we have so many fond memories of it. So.
Hmm. And as much as the fond memories, I never hear enough about this. The old controversy bullshit that it caused back in the 90s. It's like, just because I can rip out somebody's, spinal cord in a video game doesn't mean I'm going to go gun down my school. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was one of those games that sparked the whole rating controversy.
Between that and Doom, I've had, if I was like 18 back in like 94, I'd have had enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's,
there was that. Doom was another big one, and then Night Trap for whatever reason.
oh, yeah.
There's nothing really violent in Night Trap.
Isn't
so
it
I
like the
don't-
fact that there's like some naked chick in that game or something?
They're not even naked. It's just there's these girls having a slumber party, and there's these guys like trying to kidnap them, and you're trying to stop them. And for whatever reason, they just latched onto that thing and made it bigger than it really was.
A bunch of
But yeah,
pissed off moms.
those are kind of those games that resulted in us having the rating system that we have today. So it's gonna have a place in history always because it's one of those titles that spawned that. So.
Yeah, and then the new one's like just as gory, right?
Right, yeah, but you just slap an M on it and nobody cares,
That's how it should be. I'm not gonna let my nephew play it, but
Yeah.
damn it, I'm sure as hell gonna play it.
Of course, it's spawned movies and all sorts of stuff. So.
Yeah. Have you seen the movies? I've seen the first one, and I've heard the second one is just like a pile of vomit, so I never really saw it.
Yeah, the first one is definitely better than the second one. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I mean, it's a video game based movie, so you don't expect that much.
Right.
But they're both worth a watch. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I wish I had more to say about Mortal Kombat. It's just I never really played much of it.
Well, you're missing out.
I am missing out. Now that I have, I've been collecting. I have 1, 2, 3. I think I have them all for the Super NES. I'm just missing number 2 for the Genesis, but I've played them a little bit more now, and they're obviously great, and they deserve all the praise they get. But
yeah,
wish I spent more time. Before we go, have you played Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3?
I have not actually. I think
that's the one I want to get.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the best version until 9 came out.
Yeah.
And it was actually being played in tournaments and stuff up until, just recently, and it may even still be in some. But yeah, it's one of those that's a very balanced game and has a huge following. So
That's awesome.
definitely one worth checking out.
All right, so we can go ahead and move on to Game of the Week. We have switched it to Game of the Week instead of Retro Game of the Week, just to give it a more broad scope, I guess. And
yeah, just to open it up a little bit.
Yeah, there's only so many good retro games to talk about. So I guess we can go ahead and broaden up the scope with that. But before, actually, I still picked a retro game, even though, we still broaden the scope.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I picked Cabal, which the Cabal I knew is an NES game, and it's kind of like a third-person shooter to a degree. It's the camera is from behind you, and it's like a war shooter, and you have a cursor moving around the screen, and you basically have to destroy enough enemies or enemy-related objects to advance to the next level. And you have little blockades, protecting you, but they deteriorate with bullet shots, and it's a one-hit kill, so the game's not easy. But I sure know I had a hell of a time with it.
Yeah, it is. I had actually never played it until you mentioned it and picked it. And this actually, if I can backtread for a minute, it came out of my friend James again suggested that rather than talking about huge releases that everybody knows about like Punch Out and Star Wars like we did in the first 2 episodes, he's like, why don't you guys talk about like hidden gems that maybe some people don't know about? So that's kind of how we came upon this one, which oddly enough I had never played until you mentioned it. So I fired it up on the NES emulator, and it took me a good long while to get the hang of it because you're controlling the cursor and you're controlling your guy at the same time, so it's kind of hard to get used to that type of control system. And
right,
I went online to kind of research it a little bit and found out there was an arcade port. So I fired up the arcade version, and I actually had a much better time with that one for whatever reason, even though the control scheme was exactly the same. I don't know what it was, but I guess maybe the arcade version's easier, but I had a much easier time in the arcade version for whatever reason controlling it. So
yeah. Well, the control scheme is when you're not shooting, you move your character from side to side, but when you are shooting, you move your cursor.
You move the cursor, yeah.
Yes. So it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to, but with the limited controls of the NES, it's hard to get around it.
Yeah, and apparently in the arcades there was a dual stick version where you had 2 joysticks to control your character and the cursor separately. But I don't know how well that would have worked out either, but because it seems like a lot of things to be doing at once.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was an arcade game either, but I've had it for a while, and it was always a fun little game for me to go back and play. It's got great co-op too, great 2-player game.
Yeah, I obviously didn't get the chance to play it 2-player, but I imagine it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, once I got used to the controls, I did have a lot of fun with it. And it's one of those where they could have called it like Rambo the game, because that's kind of what it feels like, because it's just you just mowing down guys. So
it's definitely very 80s, Army Man. It's kind of like Contra, the same sort of deal. Contra, Rambo, if you will. Cabal, it's a little less known, but it's got the same feel of like, you're not really Superman, but you're, like this invincible killing machine like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s.
And one-man army, basically.
Yep, that's what I was looking for, one-man army. Yep.
But I will say that the NES conversion from the arcade, they did a really good job with it. Obviously, it doesn't look as good, but it plays just as well, and it does look really good for an NES game. So.
And as far as I know, I'll go ahead and get on eBay right now, but the game is extremely cheap. I know I got mine at GameStop a long time ago. I think it was $2. And yeah, right here I'm looking at it. I mean, you can get it for under $5, no problem. Right now I'm actually after a complete in-box copy, because that's just me, and I'm actually looking at one right now. It looks like a fairly decent price. Might have to look at that one for a bit, but
you are a king of the complete in-box collection.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my thing, A lot of the times if I have like cartridges, I'll search online for the box only, or what's a good idea for like a little collecting boxes tip? If you have a game that is like loose, let's say you have a loose copy of Chrono Trigger. To get a box copy, what I would recommend is either selling your loose copy first or selling it after you buy the box copy. So let's say you buy a box copy for 90, you can sell your loose copy for probably 55, and that way to get a box and manual it only costs you like half as much.
Right.
I do that sometimes. I'm thinking about doing it with Breath of Fire 1 for the Super NES, but we'll see. So Retro Corner is... We just did that with Mortal Kombat. That was Game of the Week. So now we can go ahead and do the What We're Playing segment. Which I kind of forgot about. But I have been playing some different games. So what have you been playing so far this week?
I guess I'll start on the retro side. I fired up earlier in the week Stranger's Wrath, on the Xbox, which is an Oddworld game. I don't know if you've ever played the Oddworld series at all.
I know what they are, but I've never played them.
They are one of my favorite series. They're just hilarious. The sense of humor in those games is just off the charts. And this one was really unique. It's kind of a third-person / first-person shooter. And you play as this guy called Stranger that you really don't know nothing about when the game starts. And you basically are a bounty hunter. And you're trying to get money for the doctor to fix a problem. You don't know what that particular problem is right at the beginning of the game, but that's all he says is, I need help with this problem. And so you're going around and you have to take down these different enemies to get the bounty to work up your money. But the hook of the game is that the weapon, you have a little crossbow attached to your arm, but all the ammunition that you fire is animals. So you have different, you have these zap flies, which you have unlimited ammo of those, and they're kind of like little hornets, and they will knock out the other critters that are bouncing around the stage. So you have to collect all your ammo, and there's things called chippunks, which if you fire them off, they'll make a bunch of noise and attract an enemy to them, so you can kind of lure an enemy off and kill him by him lonesome. There's spiders, which wrap them up so you can capture them. There's these ones that bite them, and you can lay them in a trap, so if somebody walks through, they'll get attacked by them. And it's just a really neat hook because you kind of have to conserve your ammo because you have to hunt for it. And you can use them in really unique ways. So it's one of those that I had forgotten about because I've never beat it. And so I saw it sitting there, and I was like, I need to fire that up again. So, and then sort of retro, sort of not. My friend and I started playing through Halo 3 again to beat the campaign on Legendary, which I've done before, but he hasn't. So I kind of consider that like half retro, half not, because it's on the 360, but it's a really old game.
Yeah.
So we're playing through that Legendary co-op. We got through, I think, 3 stages the first time we played it. So, and then on the new side, I'm actually hooked on MLB The Show 11 on PlayStation 3 right now, which is an awesome game.
I've heard good things about that baseball series, the entire series.
Yeah, it's easily the best baseball series out there. The 2K Sports one doesn't even hold a candle to it. The only drawback is that it is PS3 only. So if you have a 360, you're SOL. But yeah, I had 10 previously, and I love the heck out of that one. It was actually on my top 9 games of last year list.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, this one basically improves on everything, and primarily what I play is Road to the Show mode, which is like your creative player. Basically, you create yourself, and you're only in control of your guy during everything. And they changed the way that you earn points to upgrade it to bear. Before, you would get goals during a game, like, drive this run in, and if you missed it, you got nothing. And so it made it really hard to get your stats better and get your guy better. But with this one, you're rated on a per at-bat basis, or like if you're a pitcher, a per at-bat basis for your pitcher as well. So basically, even if you don't necessarily get a hit, like if you get you get in a big battle and make the pitcher throw 10 pitches, but eventually, you get out, you'll still get points for that. So it makes it much easier to upgrade your player. So if you're a baseball fan, it's easily the best game out there. So
is it better than Ken Griffey's baseball and Super NES?
Just a little bit, yeah. Just a little bit more advanced. Nothing against Ken Griffey, but
yeah, that people, it's supposed to be a pretty good game. I have it, and it's pretty fun. But
I still say Baseball Stars is like the best game
You know
ever.
what? I was just going to ask you about that. I actually have that on the NES, and I've never played it. It is good.
It is, yeah. I mean, you know, you can't really compare it to today, but back then that was the ish. It was the best game out there. So,
So, Nick, I'm laying this on the line right now. Baseball Stars, MLB The Show 11.
which is better?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna have to go with the show.
Yeah.
As much as I love Baseball Stars,
I can't blame you. I mean, if somebody, you know, yeah, I can't blame you. Although I haven't played it yet, so I can't tell.
Baseball Stars is number 2 though.
All right, good. And there's actually a Baseball Stars 2, which I didn't know until today.
Yeah, not quite as good as the original. I don't know, for whatever reason. The original is like, it just holds that special place, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, kind of like for me, Contra, and then Super C. Contra's always going to be better for me.
Right.
All right, let me think. So for retro, I've been playing, and it was in my pickups. I don't know if it was my last pickups video or what, but I'm going to be doing a new one this week anyway. But it was my last one where I got Kirby's Dream Course,
Great
which is a game that I didn't even know about until, probably a month ago.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, and I said, you know, because I have Kirby's Superstar and Kirby's Avalanche, and I know Kirby's Dream Land 3 is like a expensive game. So, you know, I was looking up all the Kirby games, and this one caught my eye, Dream Course. You know, I'd never heard of it. And then come to find out, it's basically a golf game. And I was sold. I was sold. I hadn't even played it. So I immediately went to YouTube, looked it up. Just looked awesome. And so far, you know, I haven't played it a ton, but it's definitely worth a pickup. You know, it's a pretty cheap game, to be honest. But it's definitely worth getting. And it's sort of like, it's more like mini golf than it is like real golf. But it has a bunch of aspects of real golf in it.
Yeah.
Like spin, like you can spin Kirby backwards. And the most interesting thing about it is that unlike in real golf, there's actually no defined hole that you have to hit it in. The way it works is, say there's, you know, obviously you know this, I'm sure, Nick, but
Yeah.
if there's like 6 enemies on the screen, as soon as you kill the 5th enemy and there's only 1 enemy left, that enemy transforms into the hole. So there's added even more strategy to it, which is just a great idea. It's incredibly fun. I think it's definitely probably a multiplayer game. And
It is.
I mean, it's just got to be a blast with more than one person.
Yeah, actually, my friend and I, back in the day,
James.
when we used to hang out. No, not James, actually.
Okay.
This was another friend. Oddly enough. When we used to hang out, we would play that game to the wee hours of the morning, and just, I think we wound up in a couple fights over it, actually. But yeah, it's a multiplayer. It is insane because when you're, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I played, but I think when you're playing multiplayer, you're like competing against each other on the same board.
Oh.
So it adds a little extra element to it, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those that, yeah, we played to the wee hours in the morning and had some amazing times. So it's definitely a classic game. So.
Okay. Now here's a fun fact about the game. I don't know if you know this or not, but this I found out through a box. My Super NES box, on the back of it has ads for a bunch of games. You know, there's Mario World, Zelda, you know, F-Zero. And then there's this game called Special T-Shot. And I said, well, gee, that looks a lot like Kirby's Dream Course. Turns out, Special T-Shot, it says coming soon on the box, so it's not out yet at the time this box was made. Turns out Special T-Shot was sort of like canned, and they just threw Kirby in it. And called it Kirby's Dream Course.
Interesting.
You know, things like that, you wouldn't learn unless there were boxes. So maybe that's
right.
No,
I had no idea.
But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And another retro game I was just playing a little bit of today is Turtles in Time, which is just a classic beat 'em up. You know, there's really not much to say about that one. But more on the modern side, I was playing earlier, and as blasphemous as this is for me, I was playing Call of Duty. But I was actually playing World at War, which is number 5, and I was playing Nazi Zombies. And Nazi Zombies, there's really no way to get around this. It's fun. It is.
Yeah.
I prefer, in fact, this is the only map I have. It's the very first one. It's called Nacht der Untoten, which somebody told me what it means. I think it means Night of the Undead in German.
Makes sense.
But it is it's the most simple map ever. There's only 2 routes you can take. It's just, for me, that's where it's at, because the other ones just get like bizarre.
Yeah.
It gets so deep. It's like, what happened to just killing these fuckers? I just want to kill zombies and move on.
Right.
I don't have to figure out, the Da Vinci Code to get into the next room, and the other ones sort of did that, but...
Yeah, I haven't played the World of War version, but I played it on the Black Ops.
Right.
So.
See, I didn't care for those ones too much. Again, they were just a little complicated for me, and they just didn't, I don't know, they just weren't...
The one is fun. The one level when you're playing in the White House is fun.
5.
Yeah, to hear the one-liners that they're spouting off is just hilarious.
They have JFK.
JFK and Nixon running around. I mean, it's hilarious, some of the stuff they say, but...
That is pretty funny. I think, is it Fidel Castro? I think they have 2.
Yeah, Fidel Castro and then, I can't remember the other guy's
Yeah,
name.
it's a no-namer. What? I forgot his name, too.
Secretary of State or something.
Yeah. So that's all. And then I played a little Halo 3, but we all know what that game is. So
Right.
that's basically all I've been playing. So
I did actually pick up NBA Jam today. I played that for
the new one?
Yeah.
How is it?
They finally dropped it down to $19.99. So
Oh, about Game
I had to pick it up. So.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so far. I mean, I've played like 2 games. I think.
Oh.
I played one regular game, and then I went into the remix store and played the first one there, which is the remix store is kind of cool because it gives you different modes where you're not just playing straight up basketball. So.
Oh, very cool.
You have that one, don't you?
I got rid of it. I did have it though.
Jerk.
Where did I get it? I got it at a pawn shop for $10. What? Wow, I'm surprised you knew. No, but I did get it at a pawn shop for $10, and I never really played it, and so I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna, just get rid of it. Somebody else could.
Thing to the side. You could have sent it to me, and then I would have to buy it today.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I only remember you got it at a pawn shop because I remember I was mad because you got it for like $10.
Yep, it was $10. Yeah.
It was still 40 at the time.
Yeah, well, that's the same store I got Bulletstorm for 10 too. So I like going there for the new stuff. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow and they'll have used Gears of War 3. Yeah, we'll take $10 on that.
For $10, yeah.
You are damn right. You'll take $10 for that. I'll give you 12. How's that sound? All right. Well, you want to go ahead and move on to the eBay section?
Absolutely. That's the favorite part of the show, I think.
Is it your favorite part? All right.
It could be.
Sounds good.
They're fun to try and find.
They are definitely interesting. So how about this week we do it this way? You say one, I'll say one. You say one, I'll say one. So it's kind of like we don't just do mine, then yours. Just mix it up a little bit.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. You want to go ahead and start?
I can. The first one is and I don't even remember why I picked this one because it's not that outrageous. I guess it is. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Completely box.
Clicking on the link. Christ.
for a mere $80, which isn't outrageous. Yeah, this one was kind of more just slightly outrageous.
This seems more like very much a reseller price.
Yeah. And it's not even in, mint condition.
It's not?
No. At least not, let's see, he says may have minor scuffs or scratches.
Oh, okay. The box looks pretty good. Of course, that's what I naturally look at.
Yeah, it's got a little crease in it, but...
Oh, crease.
Brushing.
Okay, now okay.
Yeah, if you look up at the close-up.
I know I'm scrolling down. All right. That's no $80 box, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I could see maybe that if it was mint, but it's not as rare as they would like to think it is.
Right.
Because if you look at the related auctions, you can get it for 40 or 50. So It's not totally outrageous, but just slightly outrageous.
I think it's hilarious that there's a hooker bunny and a drunk squirrel on the front of that game.
Right.
And then there's that warning, this game is not for anyone under 17, Nick.
Yeah.
It's like a comma, and then it says your name. So don't try and buy it, because we'll just reject you.
Yeah, I'll have to get the Xbox version.
I haven't even played this game. I want to get it, though.
I hear it's great. I've played a little bit of it, but way through.
When you look at the front of the box and you just look up on that top left-hand corner, I think that sort of gives you a hint to how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
That little Rareware logo there. I mean, they're just, wow. Not so much anymore. I don't really know what they're doing nowadays, but
They really haven't done anything lately.
they're Microsoft owned now, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Which, I don't know. I wish they weren't, because then we could still get, Donkey Kong Country made by them, and
Yeah.
This game. There was that re-release on the Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, any game that has a giant poop monster in it has got to be all right.
I wouldn't hate the idea of that, yeah. I'll have to get this one day and give it a try. Alright, so what one have I got? Okay, let's find it. And I have to still find it, and there it is. Okay, this one's for an Atari 2600 game.
Incredibly rare game.
I think it might be the rarest on the system. It's for Pitfall. And before I say the price, Nick, go ahead and look at the picture. Do you see that guy's hand?
Yeah, he might be like 90 years old, I think.
I was going to say that, and I think you're right. He's got to be like a dinosaur.
It's definitely a wrinkly thumb going on.
It's probably Pitfall Joe.
Either that or he just got out of the bathtub. I don't know. One of the two.
Man. But anyway, it's Pitfall in... What kind of condition would I say? I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, the label's pretty shitty, I'll be honest.
That's being generous, I think. I would
Just,
give
okay.
a 3.
All right. So what's the price on this bad boy? $1,000.
Just a mere $1,000.
Right. But, again, there's a make offer button. And when I first saw this guy's got several 2600 games. He's got, like, Missile Command and stuff. And they're all set at 1,000. And then there's all the make offer button. Well, when you scroll down, it says make offer, and then in parentheses or in quotations it says you set the price. So I think what this guy's doing is setting him as 1,000 with the make offer button, just having people make offers.
I think it's just to get people to look at it like, oh, there's $1,000. Why the heck is that $1,000? And then he's hoping that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look, it's got 3,285 views. So, what?
So, I guess it's working, maybe, because people are looking at it.
It has 4 offers, which tells me that not only does he have, this make offer $1,000 deal on it, but he's probably a little stingy on the price, because I'll be honest, I wouldn't pay more than probably 50 cents for that game right there. In that condition.
In that condition, yeah.
I mean, a mint copy, you're talking a little more, of course, but in that condition, 50 cents would and I wouldn't even probably want to pay that. Right. Then you got to pay the $5 shipping.
Yeah, $4.95 expedited shipping. So
I don't know what this guy's thinking. Just set the bid at 99 cents, and you'll have it off your hands quicker.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. All right. So what do you got?
The next one that I found, you didn't find it.
Yeah. I got to tell a story about this one.
Which actually, unfortunately, the auction has ended, but
can you still look at it?
Yeah, you can still look at it.
Actually, I think it's in my watch list.
It is a original NES system with incredibly rare games packed in with it for just a mere $4,500. Is the starting bid, or you can buy it now for $5,000 if you're feeling lucky.
Okay.
And if you read his description, I'll just go ahead and read the whole thing because it's hilarious.
Holy shit, it's huge. Okay. Oh, you know what? I did read this earlier. This is pretty damn funny.
Yeah, serious bidders only, please, and don't become a watcher unless you intend to make a bid to buy it. Why that matters to him, I don't know. But and then he says thank you. So if you listen to him, this is an original NES bought back in December of '86. This game was originally released in October of '86. And I received this wrong. Christmas gift. Yeah, I think it is wrong, but
yeah.
Gift that same year. So the one you're viewing now is not the reproduction sold today. There aren't reproductions except for clones, but it is 25 years old and in perfect working condition. It was taken very good care of all these years, and the games I have for it I had cleaned and are in working order too, and were some of the rarest games made for the system.
Wow.
For that when we get to the games. Still has the original Nintendo RF switch and AC adapter because those are incredibly rare. And these particular systems are becoming collector's items, and I don't play with it anymore, so I thought that someone out there might like to have it for their collection. Yeah, because there's only like 5,000 of them floating around.
Mm-hmm.
It's a true classic I don't want to see go to waste in my closet. So here we go with the games. We have The Legend of Zelda, incredibly rare. Bubble Bobble 1 and 2, once again. Donkey Kong Jr. Classics, which I think is actually somewhat rare, but I could be
The Donkey Kong Junior Classics?
Junior Classics.
Actually, I'm not sure what he's going for there because there's Donkey Kong Junior and then there's Donkey Kong Classics.
So,
But actually, when you what you said back there, Bubble Bobble 1 and 2, Bubble Bobble 2 is actually one of the rarer games. Yeah, it's like over $100.
Okay, it's the one he's talking about is Donkey Kong Jr. Arcade Classic Series, so it's just Donkey Kong Jr.
Okay, yeah. So I think that actually is more rare than Donkey Kong Classics.
Yeah, so Bubble Bobble 2 might be the only one they've
That's the only thing in this that so far has caught my eye.
And then we got Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. You know, those are incredibly hard to find. And apparently that original Zelda that we listed was the gray box, which, you know, everybody wants one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Legend of Zelda again, but this time it's the gold one. And, you know, those are impossible to find. Adventures of Link gold casing, Dunk Hunt, and Super Track Meet. And let's see. I have with the system, and we're some of the rarest made. He says it again, so we know. The system and games have been cleaned and restored and are fully functional and just as good now as the day they were bought. Somehow I doubt that. And given to me. And once again, this is no reproduction like people sell today. It's a 25-year-old collector's item and perfect for a collector or whoever that wants to own a real piece of history. And then he goes into the all caps.
This is my favorite part.
The point across. I also want to say something else. I've been getting a lot of nasty mail on here about my game. I did my homework about them and what they are worth. I will report every nasty or threatening email I get. Ask yourself if having your account suspended is really worth cussing me in emails. Thank you, and again, only serious watchers and bidders, please. I've sold a few things on here, and never not once did they complain about my items. I have a perfect record on here, and I'm probably one of the few honest people left in this world. And after 5 years of owning this game, it's perfect. If I can make someone else happy with it, then I will. And there were some that were pretty cruel to say are watching just to laugh at me. Happy bidding and watching. So I guess he's probably mad because we're sitting here laughing at him right now.
Did you read the next little tidbit?
This
under that?
Note to all of those that said they are watching my item just to laugh at me. That's the most cruel and evil thing you can do to someone. So I guess we're being cruel and evil right now.
Well, baby, come on, $4,500. This is probably worth, I'd say $250.
Yeah,
that's only because Bubble Bobble 2's in there.
Yeah, with all the.
I mean, the Zeldas obviously add to the value. Mario 2 and 3 do as well, but maybe $250 might be even a little high. Maybe around $200.
Yeah.
One thing that was in the all caps description is a negative. It's got to be a typo. He says, "I've sold a few things on here, and never, not once, did they complain about my items. Never, not once."
Never, not once. Yeah.
Does that mean that every time they complain about their items? Never.
Never, not once.
Not once.
I think he's missing a comma there.
Yes. Okay, that must be it. But the story behind this for me is this morning on Facebook, I have a message from Intellivision Dude. So I go and check it, and it's a link to an AtariAge thread, and I'll go ahead and link this thread with the eBay auctions. And the name of the thread is "Do not put this in your watch box." Nick, I'll go ahead and send you the link too if you want to go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how to do it over Skype right now. Oh, right there. All right, I'll just go ahead and send it to you in Skype, and there you go. So anyway, it's do not put this in your watch box. It's called, and then it says "Crazy Lady Selling Super Rare NES." So maybe it's a lady. And so I get this, and I check out the eBay auction, and it's this eBay auction with the $4,500, all that. And everybody on here is just saying, okay, well, they're watching it. You know, everybody's watching it just to piss her off, I think. And I think that's funny. You know, who cares? And so I send a message to Nick saying, oh, this has to be in the Bizarre eBay auctions. So we're getting our email ready, so we have all our links. And was it Facebook I sent this to you in?
Yes.
Okay, so I sent it to him in Facebook. And turns out earlier in the week he had sent me an email and he had already picked us one.
So yeah,
So
I found it first.
damn it. Shitty. But
Once again, I win the awesome eBay contest.
well, I don't know if you can ever top the Magic Xbox.
Right.
But this is something. I wonder where she did her homework.
Yeah, I'm not really. Like you said, Bubble Bobble 2, I guess, is the
That's
only.
the only thing in there
Actually
that's
think
even
of it.
worth. I mean, all the games are worth something, but just not that much. Aside from Bubble Bobble, even Bubble Bobble 1's worth a little bit, and then Bubble Bobble 2, of course, is worth quite a bit.
Yeah.
But crazy.
I think she got a little upset there about people.
Yeah.
Making her,
Did you watch it? I watched it.
I didn't watch it. But
Oh, you. Okay. All
I'll
right.
send her a nasty email later.
Yeah, threaten her. Just threaten her.
I'll actually send her a link to the podcast and be like, hey, we talked about it.
That'd be incredible. Hey, why don't you just go ahead and fast forward to the 1 hour mark and take a listen. All right. Wow, an hour already. Good God. Okay, so here's my last eBay auction, and it's not super. Well, it's ridiculous, but it's not incredibly ridiculous. And basically, what it is it's almost every Zelda game made, complete in box. And there's a bunch of guides and manuals and stuff. And, it's an awesome collector's thing, but he wants $1,500 for it.
Yeah, as cool as it is, I don't think it's quite
Yeah.
$1,500 worth.
Let me just go ahead and run through here. I'm going to look at the picture and state what I see. I see Link to the Past complete in box. That game complete in box you can probably get for under $40. You've got the two original Zeldas, although the original Zelda he has is the gray cart version.
Oh yeah, it is. Huh.
Which I believe is worth less than the gold, I would imagine.
I think so. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. He's got Wind Waker. He's got the DS one. He's even got the re-release on the Game Boy of the NES one. He's got all the Game Boy ones, it looks like to me. He's got the N64 ones. And a bunch of guides for it. But I got to be honest, if I were to buy these all separately, I'm pretty damn sure I can get them for less than $1,500.
Yeah, because, I mean, Zeldas aren't really, except for maybe, like, the Game Boy ones, maybe, they're not really that rare, especially, like, the NES titles. And
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're definitely fairly common, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think, any way you slice it, I don't think you could add that up to $1,500.
Yeah. He doesn't even have Twilight Princess in here.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think does he have any of the GameCube ones?
He's got Wind Waker. He's got it over by the NES ones. It's next to the gray cart.
Oh, okay, now I see it.
But there's that other one, that Four Swords Adventure for the GameCube.
Yeah.
And then there's that Ocarina of Time, like, re-release thing for the GameCube, too.
Yeah, that, like, Master Quest.
Yeah, that's what it's called, yeah. But $1,500 is steep. And there's an offer button, of course, and there's been 7 offers, all of which have been declined, and the same guy has made an offer 3 times. I mean, what would you, like, let's say you had, enough money to buy this. What do you think you'd offer?
It's tough to say. I mean, maybe 500, maybe?
You know what? It's probably about... I mean, it all looks to be in great shape, but I gotta be honest, 500 seems about legitimate to me.
I would think, yeah.
I mean, because as sought after as Zelda is, they're really not the most expensive games out there.
Yeah, because there's plenty of copies floating.
Yeah, they definitely all sold a ton, so they're definitely not too rare.
And the guides and stuff, those aren't really going to be worth, much of anything.
Yeah, guides, I mean, some of them are, like, but Zeldas, I'm sure they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, so yeah, I would think 500.
But you never know. Yeah, 500 seems good. I know one thing we can't overlook is he does have a boxed Game Boy Advance SP in there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, but what's an SP worth now?
Probably
not very much.
Yeah, and it is free shipping, so
That's true, but
$1,000 for shipping for all that.
seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. I'm looking at this, and I gotta kind of stop and think here. I have both Zeldas on the NES. I have Link to the Past. I have both 64 ones. And I guess those are actually the only ones I have, but I'd say of the ones, those are probably the most sought after, I would think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I know that Master Quest on the GameCube is kind of expensive, and so are the Game Boy ones, but come on, I mean, $1,500 is just through the roof.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, 500 would seem more legit to me. But
Yeah, I'd pay 500 if I had it, which I don't even want this. You know what I mean? I don't even want this shit.
right, clearly it's overpriced because nobody's bought it.
I think the problem is it's probably a collector getting rid of his stuff and he doesn't want to let it go.
Right, yeah. Collectors always overvalue what they have, so.
I gotta be honest, I would too probably. Although I do like to give good deals, but I also don't like to cheat myself out of money.
Right.
I just real quick, I want to see what else this guy has for sale before we call it quits here. Oh, great, he's got 1,700 things for sale.
Wow.
That's incredible. Oh my God! Wait a minute. I gotta back up. Holy shit! All right, you know what? That Zelda thing, you can put that Zelda on the back burner. Nick,
Oh, the Pokemon one?
Get ready to. Yes, the Pokemon one. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm putting a link to this in there too.
Yeah.
10 grand for this? You gotta be kidding me! It's less stuff than the Zelda.
Right, and again, Pokemon games are not rare. I mean, granted, they've held their value pretty
Yeah,
well.
they do catch a pretty penny, but they don't catch no 10 damn
Not 10
grand.
grand. He does have that awesome, like, carrying case that's, like, hideous yellow, red, and blue.
Oh, that in the top left?
Yeah.
I think my friend got that at a garage sale for like 25 cents a few weeks ago. He got some purple Pikachu backpack, which he doesn't have in here. So, I mean, what's in here? There's all the Pokemon games. There are some pretty cool bonuses though. It looks like there's a couple of there's 2 Game Boy Advances.
Yeah, there's like that looks like a micro. It's like a Pokemon edition, which is kind of cool. I've never seen that before, actually.
And then there's a DS over there, the original in the Cobalt Blue.
Yeah, and the
But
yellow Pokemon one.
this is not 10 grand.
No.
This one's actually worth a lot more probably than the Zelda one. But I'd probably say it's worth about, what do you think, 1,000 maybe?
Yeah, because like I said, I've never seen that particular Game Boy Micro or even that Game Boy Color.
Oh, the Pokemon there? The
Yeah.
Pikachu one?
It actually looks like that might be like some kind of Japanese version, because if you look at the instruction manual, it's got Japanese on it. So, yeah, I would say it's probably worth more than the Zelda stuff, but...
But 10 grand, for Christ's sake. Give me a break. Who is this guy?
He just put rare next to everything on there, pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's an old eBay seller's, trick.
Yeah.
Just slap rare on there. And
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff from Japan, it looks like, looking at the description. So some of
Yeah.
it would be, but I don't think it's quite 10 grand.
Yeah, it's probably worth a pretty penny, but yeah, again, not 10 grand. He's got another Zelda lot up for all the Game Boy one. 1,400.
Is that all?
Where does this guy get off? He's almost, oh my God. He's got the gold N64 for 250.
Or
Jesus
250.
Christ.
Yeah, he's definitely a collector who is
Oh,
overvalued.
okay, well, he's got a 6-switch Atari for 45. That's actually pretty fair. But it doesn't have any cords, so, yeah.
Gemini video game system.
Yeah, I'm seeing that there.
He does have some interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look. A little box to Game Boy action. That's one of my favorite boxes. The original Game Boy with the blue hands on it.
There's a limited edition Advanced SP, which looks like just the regular blue one. That's apparently
is it super
$300.
He's got the gold gold N64 controller for 75. Wow. All right. Well, I'm gonna link this guy, or I'm gonna link this auction, the Pokemon one. Well, I'll just link the Zelda one, and then you can go to his
yeah,
go to his account and see everything in here. It's all 1,700 of them. This episode is actually the longest yet. We're moving on
because
to
we got him on this guy's tangent here.
Yeah, that's true. We're moving on to an hour.
Buy a
Hour
red dress
15.
for $50.
What is it?
A red dress for $50 if you need one.
A red dress.
It's like you got all this video game stuff and then a red dress.
Okay, well, I guess that's all I've got for this week, Nick. Anything you want to...
Not that I can think of.
Okay, well,
Up the $10,000 Pokemon package.
yes, if anybody buys that, we'll give them a shout-out on the show. That's our goal. Also, so for next week, go ahead and, do the comments. Questions are encouraged, or, anything that, might spark a discussion. It would be nice, you know what I mean? Nothing wrong with an easy comment that said, hey, great podcast. But if you have a question and, a burning question you just want to ask, it can be about anything, really.
Yeah, anything you want to talk about.
Movies, video games, whatever the hell it is.
We'll do it.
Yes, we will. So that's the end of RattleCast Episode 3, guys. This is cobradvs, and thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next time.